Okay, thought it was time for an update. Now, I've got a bit of a plan this time. You know, these tend to go on a little bit too long, and I ramble a little bit because I go off on tangents. I've got an idea. I'm going to restrict myself to 20 minutes. I've got a load of topics here, but if I don't make it through the whole list in 20 minutes, then I'll do another one and include whatever else comes up in between. So let me just start my timer behind me. I don't know, can you see that? Yeah, just over the on-air thing. Let's have a look. Timer, 20 minutes. Right, has that started? Yes. I'm trying to read things backwards. Okay, so, yeah, where are we up to? Well, it's January at the moment when I'm speaking to this camera. Probably not when you see this, though, because it's the 31st of January, 3:45 in the afternoon. The reason I mentioned that is because I've been hanging around all day. I was waiting for a parcel, and I thought when the parcel arrives, I'll do this video. I also had plans to take some stuff to my locker that I'd been, that I didn't need anymore. Of course, you get one of these things where it says the parcel will be delivered before the end of the day. Well, it ended up being about 20 past 3, so I've been sort of hanging around all day. But I did some other things. I wrote myself a nice little list of things that I'd like to cover in this video if we've got sufficient time. Just reminders, really, of things that have kind of cropped up that I thought you might find interesting, or you might not. The reason I was waiting around for this parcel, it's this thing, the Zoom Q2N 4K. Now, they've done a Q2N for a while. This is like a musician's microphone / camera. This is the 4K version. And I just thought it might be the kind of thing I could use for using on one of these videos as, when I sort of talk to the camera and things. I'm looking at the camera now. See, what happened is I've got the Sony camera, the normal one I use, the RX10 Mark III. Next to that is the Zoom Q2N 4K. And I've set them up side by side. Actually, that one is definitely pointing the wrong way. There we go. Let's just do that. Hope I haven't stopped it recording. No, it's got a red light on the front of this. Last time, I don't know if you remember when I did that really long one of these, end of the year review type of thing, and the camera kept cutting off on me. The Sony camera does not have a record light on it. So you've got no idea when it's stopped recording, and it'll just go and stop like that. And the screen will remain on. I've got a LCD screen on the top, so I can see that I'm on. And what happens is it kind of stops recording because it goes, I've done half an hour, I'll just leave it there. The screen remains on, showing me, so I'm thinking, I'm still on. And then what happened is then the battery goes on the screen eventually, or the camera just goes into standby or turns off or something. And I find out I've been talking for 20 minutes and not recording anything. So I thought, I'll put this Zoom Q2N 4K, worst name ever, next to it. And then if that happened today, we could cut back and forth between them. But I'll do some cutting. Something's making a noise down here. That's my printer. We'll do a bit of cutting back and forth between them anyway, because I just want to see what the difference in quality is. Because I say, brand new today, out of the box, 2 AA batteries in it, micro SD memory card in, stuck it into 4K mode, press record, and we'll see what it looks like. You know what? From brief sort of looking through the menus and things, I think I've made a bit of a mistake here. In fact, I made a big mistake because I saw it for sale on. When it got announced, I thought, that might be useful. It'll replace my Sony music camera thing with decent quality mics on it. And I looked around for it on sale anywhere. Nowhere was selling it apart from Thomann, is it, in Germany? I thought, they'll do. Ordered it there, and it was on back order, but nowhere else even had it, so you could put in an order. And then it just hung around for months and months. It turns out that they didn't really have it after all. They might have thought they did. And by the time it arrived, it was already on Amazon. It had been there about a week, so I don't know why I bothered ordering it from there. I've also just returned from the shops, big trip out. I get stuff delivered to an Amazon locker locally rather than having it delivered to my house for 2 reasons. One, gives me a little bit of a chance to not worry about having to be in for the Amazon guy. But the second one is that I get a walk out because I don't walk anywhere doing this. I just stay in here all the day, which sounds like a kind of paradise in a way, but when you really don't walk anywhere, it's not good for your health. So I've just come back. I've got myself a new Boya BY-M1 lavalier mic, same one I'm using here. I love these, love the sound quality on them. There's just something just perfect for my voice with these. I always have a spare one because they've got a long wire and I trip over it and snap it and things, so I always have a spare one to hand. Oh, and I also got Colossus the 4-bin project. A few years since I've seen this, don't think I've ever seen it in HD, so decided to pick up the Blu-ray of it. On that subject, today, Ultraviolet, the kind of online thing where if you you can download movies or something. You know, if you buy a movie, you've got an ultraviolet code, you enter the code into the ultraviolet site, lets you have access to the movie online and all that kind of stuff. Well, they announced they shut it down and you've lost all your movies. So, you know, I'd stick to discs if you can, if you've got the room to store them. I've tried, what do you call it? Not relinquishing, renewing, renovating. No, anyway, the word for when you get a thing, you scratch it off and you try and you get it online for one of those codes. I tried it with that ultraviolet thing. It was rubbish. He said, "Oh, this code's expired," and it's like I'd bought the movie like 6 months early just because I hadn't watched it. I mean, just a complete waste of a service. I don't know what the point of it was at all. Yeah, so just stick to discs. Well, I do anyway. Right, so that's my little intro. So I've got a few things there. Let's go into the thing. How's the countdown going? I'm not going to keep doing this. 14 minutes. It's running by this. We haven't got long, have we? Right, so we're in the January slump at the moment. Any YouTuber, I'm still not really fond of that term, YouTuber. It just sounds a bit like, ooh, you know, like I'm a skateboarder. So anyway, you know, YouTuber. Anyone will tell you that makes YouTube videos that January is a terrible time to make YouTube videos. If you subscribe to a number of channels and you're not familiar with this, you'll notice a lot of the channels that you subscribe to just aren't really making much of an effort in January. You'll think, oh, well, they normally put out more videos than this and they're normally more complicated and things. Reason is because there's little incentive to them to make a massive effort. I will make, I know it's the end of the month now, I'll make about 40% of the advert revenue from YouTube that I made in December whilst having the same number of views. It's just the advert revenue just drops off a cliff in January through all companies. So I mean, it's a familiar thing. It happens every year. It's no big surprise. So I was prepared for it. If you wonder why I was knocking out videos like There Was No Tomorrow in December, that's because I was sort of cashing in and making hay while the sun shined for January, which is a very lean month. You know, so average of 2 out, and I can pay the bills and things. So that's what that was about. It's just experience. But I'd imagine that there's probably some YouTube guy somewhere who's looking at his money going up in October, then a bit up in November, then up in December, and he'll go and he'll say, right, that's it. I'm quitting my job. I'm going to be a YouTube millionaire. And like telling his boss, yeah, stick your job. I'm going to be doing my own thing. And then January comes around and he's like sitting at home. He's like, what happened? Can I have my job back? Because it's terrible the way it just drops off. But you know, you get used to it and you just work around it. That's all. Anyway, but also in January, I don't know about you, but I always get ill in January. It's like a tradition. It's my birthday in January as well. I've already had it. Obviously, it's the end of the month now. And I was lucky to be well enough on my birthday the day after to like have a meal out and stuff. Not that I can taste it anyway, but you know, just to like make the effort. But the rest of the month, I've been pretty rotten. Be glad to get it over and done with. Not that the month's got anything like to do with my health. It's not like a calendar-based health system, but you understand. It's just like January's a bit crappy, really. And that's the thing. I've used the word crappy in a video recently, and I think in the US, that's a bit of a, oh, you said the word crap, and I've seen it beeped out on shows and stuff. Over here, it's like saying rubbish. You know, if somebody said, oh, that's a bit crap, that's a bit rubbish, that's a bit bobbins, not that anyone says that word anymore. In fact, there's a funny thing. It used to be a word around, people used to say bobbins for a while in the 90s. I used to say it. And then I was working at a company, a lady started working for me. Her surname was Bobbins, so I had to stop using it. But anyway, yeah, so the word crap to people in the UK, or at least me and everyone that I've ever known, is a non-event word. It's just like saying it's rubbish. But say it in the US, it's a beeps it out of things. So I'm a bit concerned. I've used it in a video. To me, it's like a nothing word. I'm sure people go, oh, you swore against the Lord Almighty. So I don't know. Anyway, oh, by the way, for my birthday, I got 5 birthday cards. That's the state I've got to nowadays. I just really have no friends, connections, or anyone. Those 5 came from family members, a number of whom are so old that they'll be dead soon, and then I'll only get like whatever's left. So I don't mind, because I'd rather just be at home doing my own thing rather than sitting in an office getting 30 cards off people that pretty much detest you. Anyway, what I was going to say, because I've been ill all January, I'd like to start getting out of it, go for a few more walks and things. You know, the weather's getting a bit brighter now, at least in the evening, so you don't have to watch where you step in for all the dog doo-doos. So I'd like to spend a bit more time just moving about, which might mean that the number of videos I'm putting out will reduce slightly. I'm not saying they're going to really drop down, but there's another thing that's got into that. There's been a few videos where I've put them off because I'm scared of doing them in case they go wrong. Things that I needed repairing, but I don't know if I'll be able to fix them. So if I start on them and then I'll get a certain point into them and then I can't fix it, well, that's the week gone, and then there's no video that week. So I thought, oh, I'll leave that one. I'll do one that I know I'll be able to get finished. Which means that there's stuff stacking up that I'd really rather kind of get round to having a good look at. So I'm going to start doing a few of those, which might mean that there'll be gaps between videos of more than a week, because if it goes wrong, it like fails, or I have to wait for a part, I'll have to start working on something else and then see how that one works. So you might end up with like 10 days between videos and things. But I mean, it's a financial hit, of course, as far as advert revenue and stuff goes, but I'd really rather get some of this stuff done, things that I really want to feature in videos rather than just ignoring them all the time. Right, so moving on, that was about the January slump and the fact that I'm sort of trying to get myself fit, and at the moment I'm not at all. We've got the LED lights on in here today. I don't know if you can tell any difference, the ones that I reviewed recently. It's funny, when I did that video, I got so many weird comments from photographers and people, like, you doing this wrong, you should be doing that, you shouldn't use yellow and white at the same time, talking about colour grading and things. Look, I'm a YouTube channel. People film YouTube videos on their phone, like with like from some phone looking like it's from 1989 or something, sometimes with a shaky hand, and get millions of views. It's not about putting together a Hollywood film. It's not about colour grading and all that. It's just about putting enough light on the subject. I don't understand photographers sometimes. They seem so angry and upset about the hobby they've chosen and how it makes them sad, and they just, wrong lens, and look at the bokeh on this, and also it's as though the enjoyment's gone out of it completely, but they're kind of still trudging through this hobby that they kind of detest. And they'll tell me, like, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong, and going on about like lenses and apertures and God knows what else. The funny thing is, though, that I make a living using this camera. This is a Sony RX10 Mark III, and this is a Sony RX10 Mark II, both with fixed lenses. I leave them in auto mostly. I might adjust the brightness a little bit or the focal point. Don't mess around with shutter speeds. Don't mess around with aperture. I don't know what half these things are on this bloody dial. But I'm making a living out of it, and there's all these people. You look at a channel they've got on YouTube, they've got like one video and no one's watched it. And I mean, I'm not saying that that's like a sign of being a major success, but what I'm saying is I'm getting by, doing what I do. So thanks for all the tips, but just keep them to yourself. Not interested. They just love to talk about things, though. Like tell people off, chastise people for not doing things the way that they do them. I always found this with photography. I was more interested in video. I used to go on holiday, I'd take videos. I took very few photos. I was disappointed when cameras turned into this kind of thing, because I liked the little slim video cameras that were HD, and they don't really do those anymore. That you've got to take your HD or your 4K with something like this. And the photography magazines, I used to look through them for reviews of video cameras, and they used to like put them in the back page, like half a page. Oh, by the way, there's some video cameras, and the front of it was all about photography. And I presume that's what the market is, that's where the money is, that's what the readers wanted. But not me. I wanted to read about video cameras, and they were just like, they've always been kind of pushed out of the way by these loudmouth photography people that really just sort of drown out any sound from the people who are more interested in video, which is where I am. Excuse me, I'm going to cough. That's part of the January issues. But speaking of that subject, I've cancelled. I don't know if you remember, I mentioned I'd ordered one of those Blackmagic 4K cinema cameras. I realised it was too much sort of effort for me. It was all about when the video comes out, you'll have to colour grade it and all this. I'm not into that. Stick it in iMovie, clip it, add it together, export it as a 4K video file, upload it to YouTube. I don't even put it as a high quality 4K video file, because there's very little point, because YouTube just kicks it down the stairs, whatever you've done with it anyway. So I thought, well, that's overkill for me. Have to manually focus everything. Yeah, I'm all for doing things easily. How are we doing for time? Oh God, 6 minutes. Time's gone. I don't know. I'm not going to get through this, am I? Tell you what. Let's. Oh, that's patrons coming through. Let me tell you who that was, because you'll see this. It'll be funny. It'll be a live thing. Let's say, as he completely doesn't know how to use his phone. I don't like phones. I just don't like the size of them. I much prefer to use a tablet. Lord Brannigan, Seven just posted something. So there you go, Lord Brannigan. Right, let's restart this clock. Oh, well, that's cheating, isn't it? How many times are we going to do that? That's the last time. That's the last time. 20 minutes. Right, I've now got 20 minutes. I need to get on the go with this. Yeah. Cancelled that Black Cinema Magic 4K camera. Good job as well, because I mean, it's going to be £1,000 I owed on it. I'd put down a deposit. It was out. It was delayed, and by the time it finally came round, I didn't want it anymore. So I'm glad I managed to cancel that, because I would have been £1,000 down. Now, let me tell you about a thing that I got from the BBC. Do you remember a while ago the BBC asked me to be on some show or something? Oh no, they wanted to come round, didn't they? It was like the news to do a little mini segment, and I thought about it and thought, that's bad idea. And it would have been a bad idea. I know people got in touch, no, you should really do it, it'd be good for publicity. What you don't understand is nobody watches it. Honestly, I mean, there's stuff happening now on the telly. Oh, UK phrase, telly. Television. Yeah, there's something happening now on the TV that I'm not watching, and no one else is watching. It could be about, say it was about me now, and it was on the news at 4 in the evening, and it was on BBC News Channel 24. He's going, there's a guy here, and he's got stuff in his bedroom. Here he is, and back to the studio. Yeah, and now the weather. You know, nobody cares. The BBC don't even put who it is at the bottom of the screen. They'll say like Matt Taylor, blogger or something. You know, that kind of thing. It's no one's going to find me from that. They won't even put tech mode. They won't put youtube.com/tech mode. Anyway, so BBC have been in touch again with a new show. I don't know how much of this. It didn't say it was secret, but I'm going to read a bit to you. We're making a new BBC One game show. I'll delete the name of it just in case. It would be fantastic to have a chat about you potentially coming on the show with a collection of your 80s tech. Right, first off, I don't have a collection of 80s tech. I've got stuff, but it doesn't really, as you know, it's just general stuff. It doesn't really fit into any. I haven't got a load of Rubik's Cubes or something, you know, Dealey Boppers or whatever. We're making an exciting new competitive game show for BBC One that puts contestants' knowledge of history, antiques and collectibles to the test. Hosted by, I'll miss his name out, the series tasks, I've heard of him though, just about. The series tasks teams of two to use their skills, knowledge and intuition against the clock to value and date antiques items to win £1,000! Exclamation mark. Ooh, yeah. Teams as well. Split that up between you. That'll just about pay for your trip down. The series is set within a studio made up of different zones, each filled with antiquities and collectibles from a range of time periods and sources. One of these zones is called Collector's Corner, where we feature a different collector and their collection in each episode. We're looking for collectors to take part by bringing in... Right, this is where I come in. Bringing in items from their collection to the studio for one day's filming and helping us create a few tasks and questions for the teams that relate to the collection. So, theoretically, I've got this collection of 80s stuff. I've got to schlep it down to the BBC in London. I'm nowhere near London. Last time I went to London was about 10 years ago, and it was just a massive pain in the bum, and I don't plan on going there again. Not that I've got anything against people in London. Yeah, I enjoy London, but I mean, you won't come up to my house either, because it's just a big effort as well. That's what I'm saying. It's just like a big fart. But imagine I had to carry all like that. I've got stuff. Oh, carrying all this stuff. What am I going to get? Like an amplifier, a couple of, I don't know, some laser display, like all this down to London. Maybe I get a van or something. I mean, I'm not driving down to London with my diabetes. But anyway, and then I'm going to come up with a few tasks and questions for the team. And then what am I going to get at the end of it? Yeah, thanks for coming. See you. You know, why would that be of any appeal to anyone? But then when I get stuff like this, I start watching TV shows and I'm thinking, why are these people on this show? You know, like there'll be a daytime quiz show and there'll be a couple of people on it and the prize is like a slap round the face. And you're kind of wondering, why have they gone on it? Is it because they think, I'm going to be famous? Because the only person that's going to see that is them and about 10 members of their family who have been told to watch it because, I'm on telly on Tuesday. I think this whole being on telly and becoming famous thing is old-fashioned. It's not like it's the Beatles turning up on, what's his face's show? I forgot his name. I was watching him the other day. But anyway, it's daytime television. I doubt that people making it even watch it. They could probably put that test card on of the girl with a blackboard and a clown, and they put that on for an hour. No one would notice. I like the way I have to come up with the questions. Like I've got this 80s collection. I've got which Rubik's Cube is the biggest or something. What was? BBC are overreaching here, thinking that everyone's just going to drop everything and come running to do some half-arsed TV show in the middle of the day. But anyway. Now, on the positive side, I've got to tell you about a video that I am in, but just vocally, and I think you should watch it. Let me find it on here. This comes from one of your fellow patrons. This is a chap called Jason Lee, not that one, but a different one. And he has done, along with his missus and a lot of other people, a video called Meek She, the Meek Sheep. I'll spell that for you because, actually, let me zoom it in and then you can read it, can't you? Because I know 4K is 4K, but still, nobody's that good. Oops, hold on, I've buggered it up now. There we go. Can you see that? Meek She, the Meek Sheep. He's only got 55 subscribers, one of whom is me, and it's only had 606 views. And this chap, Jason, he did some Thunderbirds work for one of the sort of... I don't know, they did some short Thunderbirds videos not too long ago. So he's kind of the model maker type guy, I think. And then his missus, perhaps the puppeteer. There's all these other people. Anyway, I appear in this for a little bit because he got in touch and said, would you like to be in this and do a bit of a voice thing? So I did. And it's one of the favourite things I've done because I always had this idea. I'd want to be in a movie or a TV show or something, just as an extra in the background, because I can't act, as you know from looking at previous attempts. But I always think, wouldn't it be great if I was saying, I don't know, just think of Die Hard or something, and I was just some bloke walking past the guy at reception gets shot or something. Just that, so I could, so in future generation, I'm an old man, about 2 years. I could show it and say, look at this is me in Die Hard, and show me, oh yeah, that's brilliant. I didn't know, something that sort of stays forever like it. Now I know Meek She the Meek Sheep is not Die Hard, but still, to me, it's a big achievement just being in something that's going to be around for a long time. I know these YouTube videos are, but it's a kind of different thing. It's being part of something that's like entertainment that people, I can always refer back to. I don't know, it's just something in my head. I had this idea because I couldn't get, I was never going to be in anything famous. And bear in mind where I am in the country, the most famous thing that happens here is like somebody trips over a sheep or something. So I had this idea that when I die, I was going to donate my corpse to as a stunt corpse, so that then they could throw it off a building or something, and then somebody drives a car into it, and at least I get in the movie, and everyone go, wow, that effect was realistic looking. But then in my head I thought that would be a bit gruesome for the actors, wouldn't it? But I just always had this idea that I wanted to just be a little bit of something. So this, to me, this achieves one of those aims. So look at Meek She the Meek Sheep. It's for children. So if you, I know everyone watching this is not a child because you paid $1 plus to be here. I'm sure children aren't going to be doing that. I don't think they'd let them, would they? Not that they would. But yes, maybe your kids will like it or something. The intention is to have a full series of these. It's trying to sort of shop it around TV shows, getting them to pay for it, because it's a pretty expensive looking thing. Enjoyable anyway. 14 minutes, 19 seconds. Just have a look at Meek She, the Meek Sheep. Right, now, talking of which, Muppet outro. Do you remember the most recent Muppet outro? Just put it out today. And it was based on real ideas, that one. The Muppets, where they've gone about not being millionaires and then decided to do short reaction gifs, right? That, I've got to thank, there's somebody here. Right, here's one, Ryan J. Officer on Twitter. Not that I'm on Twitter anymore, but I do search it every now and then, just see what's going on. Hey, can we get a Tecmo puppet facepalm clip? That was in November, so that kind of stuck in the head. I could do a facepalm clip. And then this guy, Judson, I don't know who that is. I saw him. There was a list on Forbes introducing the highest paid YouTube stars 2018 on Forbes.com. So it's a link, right? This chap here says, this list is too young-centric. Where's the older YouTubers? Techmoan for one. Well, introducing the highest paid YouTube stars. Where's Tecmo? I'll tell you, he's not one of the highest paid YouTube stars. So that those two things added together made that outro, because it just amused me that someone said, why aren't you on the list of highest paid YouTube stars? Well, there's one good reason behind that, I think. Right, now the Sony camera just stopped. I don't know where it got up to. I was, the Q2N stopped, and I just looked at it, and it's run through 2 AA batteries, burnt through 2 alkalines, brand new. Didn't even last half an hour. That's rubbish, isn't it? Oh, what a piece of bob. But the Sony stopped, I'm going to guess at the same time. Fingers crossed. I don't know where I got up to. But what I was good, what's it's put me all out of whack that now. I wonder where I got up to on it. I suppose I should look at the screen, shouldn't I? But I'd have to fast forward through it all. Okay, well, what I'll do now, I'm going to say the two things that I've just said, because it's probably cut one of them off, and then I'll edit in whichever of these I haven't already got on the video. So, I was talking about YouTube channels I enjoy. Podcast Age, all one word, Podcast Age. He reviews microphones. He does a very good job of testing them. He demonstrates each microphone with the same tests each time, going from close up to distant, talking around the back of them, playing guitar on them, singing into them, all that kind of stuff. Very useful if you're looking at shopping for a USB or XLR mic. So yeah, check his channel out, Podcast Age, all one word. Next one, Camera Conspiracies. A chap who's really more focused on health generally. He's done all these videos about health and fitness and stuff and different diets and all that business. Not in my ballpark at all. I'd never have seen him other than he started a second channel called Camera Conspiracies. Now, it's a bit clickbaity on the titles, but he's done a good job with it because it gets you in there to look at the videos, which I think I wouldn't have done otherwise. It's kind of encouraged me. Maybe I should get more clickbaity because it does get the eyes on the videos. And then when people get in there, they realise they like the content. He's just a bloke who's moved out to Thailand for a year, or for 6 months or something, and he talks about cameras. That's it. And he's more in my end of the thing, where he's not talking like getting all miserable about them and just like I mentioned at the beginning. He's fun. He has a lot of. He's a humorous chap, and he makes me laugh, and I enjoy watching his videos. And he's just check him out. Camera Conspiracies. I say it's not the most elaborate content in the world, but there's just something there that just really amuses me and entertains me about his videos. I don't think it's going to be for everyone. A lot of people will be like, oh, I don't like this. This is a bit rubbish. But it's nothing like my videos, put it that way. Completely different, but I really enjoy watching those. So that's a couple of channels I've picked up on recently. The last thing I wanted to talk to you about was Music Visualizer for Raspberry Pi. I was doing that video recently about the VTR, the little component thing with a black and white television in it. And it got into my mind that I'd really like a Raspberry Pi based music visualizer along the lines of Winamp type thing or all those other ones. There's plenty of them out there. And I thought, well, I'll just have a look for one of those because Raspberry Pi's got the composite video output, would have been ideal for plugging into it. There is nothing out there. A few years ago, somebody did something that was similar to the Atari video music. You can't get it anymore though, but that was somebody who did something like that. But I just wonder why no one's doing anything like that. So just a call out really, if you're an amazing programmer and you've got one of these things sat around that you could just knock out in 10 minutes, or you sat there thinking, oh, I'd really like to put something out, but I just don't have the idea what I'm going to do. For me, I would like a music visualizer for Raspberry Pi, something along the lines of the stuff that, what's his name, Llamasoft guy, Jeff Minter did, with his visual music thingamajig on the Nuon and the Atari Jaguar, or Jaguar. But anyway, yeah, I'd just love someone to make one of those. I can't program my way out of a paper bag, but if anyone's stuck for ideas, please do one of those. I'll promote it. I'll show it on here. We can stick my name on it or something. The amazing Tecmo Music Visualizer that he's had absolutely nothing to do with and couldn't be bothered making himself. I don't know, but it'd just be such a useful thing. Well, I say useful, entertaining use to put a Raspberry Pi to. But I think that's it. That's the end of this. I wonder how much of this got cut off. I'm not going to go back and reshoot it now because, I say, we started off with the issue that the camera stops recording after a while, and now we realise it does. Hopefully I've lost nothing. If I have, I'll put a mark next to it and we'll cover it up next time we do one of these. So yeah, well, that was worth putting the timer on at the beginning, wasn't it? 20 minutes. That really worked, didn't it? I hope you've enjoyed having a bit of a chat here today. A bit of a two-way chat. I've been, listening to everything everyone's been saying. And I'll do another one of these as soon as I've got some more stuff to annoy you with. So, yeah, as always, thanks for watching.